Picture this. You're standing in Nagano, Japan, right in the heart of Aoki Village. You're completely surrounded by mountains on 3 sides. It's just the start of the autumn harvest, and this quiet, rural landscape is about to transform into something literally breathtaking. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're diving into the story of Tachiakane. It's a highly unique variety of soba, or buckwheat, that has essentially become the very soul of this village.
Now, this whole story brings up a really fascinating question. Can a regional tradition actually be invented? When we think of local specialties, we almost always assume they're ancient, right? We picture these centuries-old traditions, seeds heavily guarded by ancestors. But does a deep, meaningful food culture actually need hundreds of years of history to be authentic? Keep that in the back of your mind as we take a trip to those autumn fields.
If you ever find yourself in Aoki Village during the autumn, this is the absolute sensory masterpiece you're going to walk into. Just a massive sea of delicate white soba flowers swaying in the wind, all set against a backdrop of these rich green mountains. But if you look a little closer and peer right through those white petals, you'll spot the berries starting to take on color. And here's the shocking reality. Unlike the typical dark or greenish buckwheat berries we're all used to seeing, the ones here are a brilliant, striking crimson red. And that brilliantly illustrates exactly where this plant gets its name, Tachiakane. The name perfectly captures what this crop is all about. Tachi means to stand firm. In agriculture, crops like soba can easily fall over from heavy rain or wind, which ruins the harvest. But this variety, it's tough. It stands its ground. Then you have akane, which refers to that beautiful, deep crimson color the berries take on as they mature. So you've got this incredible agricultural resilience mixed right in with a stunning visual identity. Which brings us to our first main point. Science meets local tradition. And honestly, this is where the story takes a massive twist, because if this brilliant red soba is the ultimate pride of Aoki Village, where on earth did it actually come from? Well, the expectation is that Tachiakane is this ancient village heirloom. But the reality? It was bred in a laboratory. Yep, it was developed by the Nagano Chushin Agricultural Experiment Station. It was recognized in 2009 and officially registered in 2010, simply as variety number 195244. It is absolutely not an ancient seed passed down by village elders. It's a product of modern agricultural research. But here's the really fascinating paradox. Even though scientists technically invented the seed, they definitely didn't invent the culture around it. Nagano Prefecture's official records note that Aoki Village is the exclusive, only production area for Tachiakane. So the lab might have drawn up the blueprints, but Aoki Village was the only place that actually put those seeds in the dirt, nurtured them, and built an entire local identity around them. All right, let's move on to tasting the village seasons. It's time to step away from the science lab and head directly into the fields and kitchens to see how this crop actually goes from the earth right into the bowl. With soba, timing is quite literally everything, as you can see in this incredibly fleeting life cycle. First up, the white flowers bloom. Next, the berries turn that signature, vibrant crimson. But here's the secret, they don't stay red forever. As they fully mature for the autumn harvest, they actually turn into a much more traditional brown color. That means the stunning visual of those red and white fields, it's just a temporary, magical phase right before the harvest kicks off. So once it's harvested and milled, what's the actual payoff? What does it taste like? Well, Aoki Village proudly describes Tachiakane as having a refreshing aroma and a subtle sweetness. Just imagine sitting down in the crisp autumn air to taste a highly anticipated dish of the brand new harvest. They call it shinsoba, and it's an experience where you can quite literally taste the passing of the seasons right there in the village. But listen, having a great seed, that's really only half the battle. Soba is an incredibly delicate art form. The final flavor in your bowl depends on a whole bunch of things. The year's weather, the precise harvest timing, how it's stored and milled, the flour ratio, the local water quality, and crucially, the technique of the chef making it. It's like a giant puzzle. This means the exact same Tachiakane harvest is going to uniquely express the individual skill of different chefs all across Aoki Village. Every single bowl is its own unique masterpiece. Now, let's shift gears to growing a regional brand. Because Aoki Village didn't just grow a plant, they transformed a newly patented seed into a super powerful regional magnet. The speed of this timeline is just wild. Look at how deliberately they built a booming brand entirely from scratch. The variety was developed in 2009 and registered in 2010. By 2014,
just 4 years later, mind you, it's already being heavily promoted in tourism materials as an Aoki exclusive. Fast forward to 2018, and their local festival is drawing massive crowds. And by 2023, this rural noodle is being served right in the bustling heart of Tokyo. Actually, let's pause on that 2018 festival for a second, because to put things into perspective, this number, 500, is pretty staggering. That is the exact number of Tachiakane soba meals that completely sold out per day at the local new soba festival. The whole event drew about 1,000 visitors over 2 days. For a tiny, quiet mountain village, pulling in that massive scale of visitors just from a single agricultural product, that is an incredible economic victory. And they absolutely didn't just stop at a bowl of fresh handmade soba. This perfectly shows how a strong regional brand expands. Today, that one seed has spawned an entire economic ecosystem. You can pick up dry noodles at the roadside station. They've even distilled it into shochu liquor and turned it into local sweets and confections. So a single grain is out there supporting farmers, millers, chefs, distillers, and tourism organizers. The whole shebang.
So for our final chapter, Tachiakane's true home. How did this local crop, born in a lab and raised in a mountain village, manage to reach way beyond the mountains?
Well, in 2023, the country mouse visited the big city. Tachiakane soba was featured for a limited time at Shiba Soba restaurants, which are run by the Tokyo Group out in the greater Tokyo area. Aoki Village acted as the rural cultural home, while Tokyo became the urban destination, introducing these really deep, rustic flavors to busy city commuters. But you gotta wonder, why the Tokyo Group? Was it just some random corporate business deal? Actually, not at all. The connection is deeply personal. Keita Goto, the foundational figure who built the massive Tokyo corporate group, was actually born right there in Aoki Village. This historical connection completely bridged that urban-rural divide. For someone eating in Tokyo, discovering that name on the menu acts as a gateway. A simple bowl of soba becomes this fantastic entryway to learning about a regional landscape they might actually want to go visit someday. So the big takeaway for us here in this explainer is that a cultural tradition isn't just something passively inherited from your ancestors. It certainly doesn't happen by accident. A true regional brand is actively built through the hard, deliberate effort of a dedicated community. The growers in the field, the chefs refining the flavor, the organizers running the festivals, and of course the consumers who show up to appreciate it. Which brings us right back to our original mystery. Can a tradition be invented? Yes, absolutely, if a community adopts it. Science created the variety, but Aoki Village gave it a home. They took variety number 19524, planted it in their green mountains, watched its berries turn crimson, and over just a little over a decade, transformed it into the very soul of their village. Human intention and care are what truly define a crop's roots. I want to leave you with this question to ponder. What flavor defines your hometown? Is it something hundreds of years old, or is it something your community built together in your own lifetime? Because food is never just food, right? It's the beautiful connection between people, the landscape, and the very concept of home. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I definitely encourage you to look a little closer at the flavors you call home.